This is Naraka Bladepoint. We're here on PlayStation 5. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So this is a free-to-play Battle Royale experience that's a little bit different from other Battle Royales because you are doing, well, basically bladed warfare. Now, it's not all just about swords and knives. I mean, it largely is. But there are some distance weapons you can use if you want to fight people, but most of the time you are stabbing. So this is a game that was a premium experience. I played it on Xbox a little bit over the last year, and now it is available on PlayStation as a free-to-play experience. So you go in and you fight in groups of up to 60 players, and you try to be the last one standing. You could do like trios, doubles, singles, you know, stuff like that. That's the gist of what the game is, and you play on these large environments. So what are we getting here? It's a 4K resolution, 60 FPS, but the PS5, if you haven't kind of noticed it, I don't know how well it records. It screen tears like crazy. Every like second of gameplay, there's like screen tearing going on. Usually at the bottom of the screen, and sometimes it makes its way up to the top. So that is something I haven't really found a way around. I guess maybe if you have like VRR going on, that might help, but yeah. And it plays the party chat through the, literally the controller. So if you want to turn that off, you go to settings. And then you can go to audio and turn that off, because I found that really annoying. So yeah, this is an intriguing game. Honestly, it's kind of neat and a little bit different. So you've got like this sort of back and forth kind of block system. Usually your teammates would be nearby, and you're able to like free move through the environment very smoothly. You've got like a grappling hook, and you can climb really well. And yeah, there's some deeper details to this one. So you can see we've got a bunch of different weapons, but there's also a soul jade bag. There's a soul jade bag where you are collecting little bonuses. There's also like little bits of health that you pick up. So you've got either your armor or you've got your health, and you need to fill both of those if you are getting attacked by people. And then, of course, as in Battle Royale tradition, there's a giant vortex that's going to be pushing you inwards, and you got to get closer and closer to, well, the middle ground. You play on these large maps. So, yeah, the PS5 side of things, I have noticed there tends to be a lot more, like, pop-in. Like, a lot more pop-in. And then, again, the screen tearing is really kind of rough, in my opinion. Like, it's annoyingly present when you are playing the game. Oh, and then there's also this layering too of you have to repair your weapons. So when your weapons are used in battle, you have to repair them, otherwise the durability goes down and you're not doing as much damage. And then the game has a lot of different characters too. So that's a big part of the game, is the characters and your abilities. So you're kind of noticing in the bottom middle there that I have like an ultimate that's kind of ready to go. And each character has like certain abilities. Like one has like a big mech thing, one becomes a giant monster thing for a little bit. There's different stuff for different characters. And all the characters, they have like customization stuff you can kind of work towards. But that's kind of the main gist of this one, is those mechanics of doing sword-based combat, getting pushed inwards, taking out your opponents, and then trying to survive. So it's kind of neat, and it does seem like there's actually some map variation too now, which is nice. Like I said, it's been a bit since I played it, because I covered it, and then, time has gone on, and we're now, taking a look at the game again. Also, it does seem to have a lot of bots, in my opinion, too, in this one. I was noticing that as well, because I did go back and check out the Xbox version, too, just to kind of, like, see how things were different there, and compare it to here, because I have lots of progress there. And there's cross-play, and, all that kind of stuff. So it is, like, a pretty full-scope kind of game. There's also, like, hidden cave type things too that are present in this one. So like, if you have like a special key, there's like a cave area and you can get in there and get some rewards. There's like these special chests. You've seen me collecting some special token items. So you'll see that, the Dark Tide coins, and you could take the Dark Tide coins and then you can basically go to these like chests and then you can buy better items, things that like extend your storage, so you've got more storage space, more weapon storage, you know, things like that will allow you to, you know, kind of have a bit more of an advantage in the match. And it's Battle Royale, so, you know, you're literally, your experience is going to be different every time you go at it, and you can pick from the different characters, you go and you do your fighting, and then there's all these, like, events and stuff in the backdrop. There's actually, like, I think the best to describe it is it was, like, a little overwhelming coming back and being like, wow, there's lots of, like, backdrop events, things going on, challenge type stuff. So they have been busy, they have been adding things to this one. And it's nice to see it finally come, you know, to the PlayStation 5. It's nice. I do hopefully wish they, like, polish some things up a little bit more for this version. It almost feels like it's running through like a back compat kind of thing almost, but it does look pretty decent. Like, I think visually it looks fine. The character models are actually really great looking. There's a wide variety of different options, like I mentioned, like actually a big roster. And then the environments themselves too, like a lot of them look pretty nice, the environments. But yeah, if you do see like the pop-in, it does take you a little bit away from what's going on here. And as I said, it does look a little, just, you know, going freshly coming from the Xbox side of things, it is a little bit rougher. So like I said, I do hope they clean that up a bit for the PlayStation side of things. Because obviously, you know, I want a premium, nice experience on both sides. I don't see why there shouldn't be that sort of thing present. But anyways, like I was saying, I do have fun playing this game. I think it is pretty enjoyable. It's it can be rather intense, you know, seeing the conflict go on, using the weapons. There is like layers of strategy to this one, and it's just, it's kind of intriguing, because if you get a good battle going on where you're kind of blocking and, you know, parrying and all that, it could be pretty insane. But as you can tell, we're sort of just like blitzing anything that happens to come our way. And just absolutely slaughtering everybody, so it's kind of like not even much of a fair battle. And then there's different tiers of weapons and tools, and I did mention earlier there's different types of weapons, but there really is quite a lot of stuff. Like, you know, we've got like this basically like auto fire kind of gun. You know, we've got these different types of blades, like the longsword, it can hit really hard, but you know, it doesn't swing as fast. I like the dual blades here. I love these things. Like the katana, or actually the dual blades themselves, can give like a really good combination attack system. And you can kind of just like drown your enemies. But it does, you know, again, depend on your playstyle. Like there's nunchucks, like there actually is a lot of melee stuff. And I've been saying for a while that like there aren't really too many like different types of battle royale games. Like they're mostly all just like shooters. We did have Spellbreak there, which was a magic game, and I'm now actually remembering what the name of that was because I couldn't figure it out earlier. So yeah, I think it was Spellbreak, and that one you're shooting magic spells in a battle royale, and that one didn't really last. But this one, it's melee focused, and I'm trying to think of like other types of battle royales, and it's like, you know, nothing really comes to mind in regards to being something that is like different outside of the shooter genre. The different types of battle royales within the shooter genre, you know, are different. They offer different things, but like, you know, they're typically that one sort of thing. So it is a question of like, is battle royale really only meant for shooting, or, you know, does it work for other stuff? And I do, you know, I would argue that it actually does work for this game being a melee experience. I think it's actually kind of effective, especially since there is, you know, like I said, strategy in how you do the melee attacks. We're just kind of overwhelming people because there's, you know, multiple ones here, but you do have like extra abilities, you do have different tactics, and there is a bit of like a ghost revive system too in this one. So like if you die like pretty fast, you can literally go and you can find yourself this like shrine thing, which was that red swirly marker that we had earlier. And you can kind of revive, where your teammates can revive you too, up to a certain extent. Like you get like one of those, and yeah, it's kind of a big thing. And and that's kind of a neat mechanic of the gameplay, is like coming back if you're like dying really fast. And yeah, it's kind of like a don't mess up a second time kind of thing, and you know, a lot of people like that kind of stuff. But it is quick management. It is like, you know, using your inventory, going and upgrading stuff, getting better tiers of like loot and weapons, making sure your health management is good, making sure your weapon is clean so the durability doesn't cause a problem, because you don't want to be in the middle of the fight and have your like durability break down. But you do have multiple weapons, or you should, so you know, you can always switch, but I don't really see a lot of nuance in that. Down you go. So yeah, kind of cool, kind of interesting. I think it has some decent stuff. I mean, it's not one of those ones where I'm like, oh, it's got potential, because, you know, I've literally like played bits of it over like last year, so like I know exactly what it is. I think the bigger question is whether it continues to attract interest of new players and continues to grow and whatnot, and continues to have new players jumping into it. But it is cool seeing it become something that's like free to play and more accessible, obviously, right? When games like this become free to play, obviously the player count jumps up a bit because people are like, oh, what is this? This is interesting. So I do wonder if it attracts a new crowd on the PlayStation side of things, if it becomes something where people are like, oh, this is pretty cool. Because I think it's kind of neat. I think it's different. I think it's interesting. And that's a bounty thing. So there's like bounties or goals, like extra little things to get extra bonuses. As I said, lots of deep, smaller things in this one in terms of like, you know, mechanics and gameplay stuff. I think they do a pretty good job of that one. There's always nice twists and turns in that. And then if you really care, you can actually sit here and manage these. As you should, but I mean, depends on how crazy you get into it, because your different, like, soul jade bag items, like, greatly improve things, you know, like health and that. But, yeah, I'm not usually too bothered. I kind of pick them up, and they're bonuses that are bonuses, because I'm usually focused on the frantic action of having to, like, fight and survive and not die. And you can die really quick in this one. Like, we haven't seen it yet because my team has been, like, effectively taking on, like, the enemies. But this is really something where it's like, if you're not paying attention, you can get dropped like a rock in, like, seconds, and you'll just be dead, and you'll be like, whoa, that was quick. And you've got to, like, you know, kind of keep your eye on the ball and what's happening. Otherwise, things will go very bad for you very quickly. Because it's like it's a sword game, so you might be sitting there thinking like, oh, well, you know, how fast could you possibly die? And then it's like, yeah, all of a sudden you're cut up and dead 2 seconds later. Where is this person? Are they still in here? This person must be a bot if they were running against the wall like that.
I will remember you.
I will not remember this person. They were pretty weak. Oh, some nunchucks. Just what I've always wanted. Still also looking for a crate. Then there's like the sort of like ultimate attack thing you can get too. So if you got like 16,000 of the soul whatever point shred things, and you go to the box, you can buy like this thing that will allow you to unleash like a bane cloud of storage, or storage of damage and that. That's what I'm saying is like there's kind of a lot of like new extra little mechanic things that they've added since I've been gone, and I think that's really quite cool. Yeah, you can like send storms against others or just buy other upgrades so that you can keep attacking and that. And there's so much like variation too in like the costumes and options as well. And I can sweep in and kill all these guys.
I can't use this. Fortune to you in the next life.
See, pretty easy going. We're doing well, which is good. But yeah, it's really accessible. It's fast for matches. It's not too hard to understand, but there is the complexity of being like, you know, do I get all of the smaller things? And they do have like kind of an annoyingly slow tutorial, and then on top of that, they've got like a game tutorial too that you have to do, and then pretty sure they set you off against more bots at the beginning, or well, actually even on the Xbox side of things, after many matches and returning, there was quite a few bots. So I don't know what's up with that. I think it's just to maybe make you feel better about stuff. I don't know, but that is kind of a gameplay mechanic thing just to keep in mind. Is it's just it doesn't throw you right in, and it takes a while to really get going and be able to do stuff, which might make it harder or less interest, but you should learn everything you need. But even then, there's more you come across in the world. You'll be like, oh, what's this? Like special fountains, or like the bells that alert you to where others are, and yeah, there is actually quite a lot to this, but it all plays nicely on the PS5, you know, which I think is great. Nicely as in, like, you know, movement, controller buttons. It's the screen tearing that just drives me crazy. See, here's the Moonbane. I don't have enough space, all these stupid grappling hooks. Yeah, okay, anyways. Let's get this before it expires. Because the time's almost running out to use it. Because we're in such an end game, right? There's only like 6 people alive, so it's our team and one other team. I just wanted to show it off, so it's kind of like a lightning thing that you can like send out, and it'll be like a big storm cloud, kind of messing people up for a bit. Oh, and the enemy team is already here. And then if you don't stay out of the cloud, the scary cloud, eventually it like eats your health away as opposed to like your shield, so you do kind of like die.
You can't rush beauty.
Trying to use like my ultimate here.
You can't rush beauty.
But strategy, like gameplay wise for combat, is really neat, because it's like sometimes you're attacking and sometimes you're like backing off, because it's like I don't have shields, and sometimes you use your ultimates, and it's like this mix of like attack, defend, move in, move back, and yeah, I think they've done a good job on that. Just kind of making it feel sort of intensive when there is actually crazy matches going on, and it looks like we did end up winning, which is not a shocker. So let's get into the next match here and show off a little bit more of it. Alright, we jumped into another match here, just so you can see a little bit more of it kind of in action and whatnot, but pretty straightforward concept, right? You kind of spawn in from a spot that you pick, you've got your squad. You hack, you slash after you gather weapons and tools, you try to survive until the end, you can revive each other. It really is like, you know, the battle royales that you're used to. It's just, its hook is the fact that you are able to actually do like, you know, melee-based combat as opposed to like shooting each other. Even though you can shoot each other, it really doesn't come up that often. You know what I mean? Like, people usually are just straight up stabbing each other using the melee weapons against one another, as opposed to like, you know, blasting and whatnot, because it's a lot harder to pull off the gun stuff. But you can really get in there with that like crossbow and just whip some people down. That really is like an effective method for causing a lot of problems and issues for others. It really is. So yeah, you'll either find this one to be kind of intriguing, I think, based on the concepts you've seen, and you know, dive into it. Otherwise, it just might not really be of interest to you. But I kind of like what it has to offer. I like the variety within like the environments and the maps and stuff like that. And I like the overall gameplay. I think the idea of it's pretty good. And I have enjoyed it. And it's got like a good roster of characters, and it's got some different variations within the battles. It's just like your interest in battle royales, right, is kind of a big thing in that concept of it. Because it doesn't like wildly change itself from the battle royale genre, because, you know, it is battle royale. So it just depends on this point if it still gets you excited, and if you want something with a little bit of a twist or fun flair to it, then I think this is actually probably something you're looking for that will just mix things up a bit for you, a little bit differently, instead of having to do kind of the same things over and over again. Ooh, big staff that's purple. That's kind of nice.
What do we
But yeah,
have here?
I don't know. Kind of cool, right? I think it's got potential to hit it with a new audience, and I hope that is actually the case, because it's Pretty cool game. Yeah, I think it offers some
Join the
decent
fray
stuff.
and I'll up your pay.